What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense of Best coming at you with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about the King Griffin exception rule, the power that has been given to this man to rule the world. But before I get started, let me say big shout out to 21,765 people who have said they are fed up with Citadel Securities and King Griffin. They need to be investigated for fraud and his license removed, and he is kicked out of our stock market. 21,765. I'm so proud to see that number. People, that's a number where they start paying attention, okay? 21,000 starts raising some eyebrows. So if you have not signed it, let's get it to 22,000. We need, 235 more. Get it signed, people. Share it with your friends. Let's get this thing a little bit higher, okay? Because now we're getting to a number where politicians, the ones that give King Griffin his power, are going to start paying attention to us. And I got a lot to say about that coming up soon. So if you haven't signed the petition, it's pinned in the comments. Also with a support the channel, I would appreciate it. Do not donate to thechange.org. There's a support the channel link in the description if you so wish to do so, okay? Now let's talk about the King Griffin exception rule. I'm going to show you this letter, and as you can see, I have redacted out the name of the person who wrote the letter. All right, and I did that for a reason. First, I want you to see that it was written before the market crash of 2008, okay? Now, the reason I have it redacted is I'm going to read the letter, and I'm going to want you to tell me who wrote this letter. It starts off, Dear Mr. Kantz. Mr. Kantz works for the SEC, all right, and this is in reference to the proposed regulation SHO. This was when they were debating, rather, they wanted to make naked short selling illegal in the market. This is before that. They're talking about it now. It is a proposal, and the person that wrote this letter, Blank Investment Securities LLC, is pleased to comment on the Securities and Exchange Commission's proposal regarding short sales regulation SHO. Blank has been engaged in market making activities for over 40 years as a registered market maker in NASDAQ for both NASDAQ and exchange listed securities, as well as a designated dealer on the National Stock Exchange, formerly the Cincinnati Stock Exchange. This has provided us with vast experience related to the operation of the national market system, and in particular with the SEC Rule 10A-1 and NASD Rule 3350. So, whoever wrote this letter has vast experience, and the SEC should listen to them with what they're about to say concerning the rule against naked short selling, okay? The writer goes on to state that they make regular and continuous two-sided markets in over 600 of the most active New York Stock Exchange listed securities, including the S&P 500. All right, you just heard them say that. Over 600 active stocks on the New York Stock Exchange, including the S&P 500. So when you're talking about the S&P 500, yes, they control it with their algorithms. And over 200 of the most active NASDAQ NMS securities. Now, we know this was written 2004, so it's probably 5 times what they're claiming that they do now. But here's what I love. In each of these securities, Blank offers to our broker-dealer and institutional clients liquidity. There's that word again. Guarantees for market and marketable limit orders. These guarantees are provided at the national best bid or offer with opportunities for price improvement. In addition, we handle all types of non-marketable limit orders where we provide our clients with both price protection and print protection. All right, now let's talk about this paragraph, because they just said a whole lot. Now, for the clowns in the back of the room, get your pen and papers ready. Get ready to take some notes so that you can understand and quote me right. All right, the person that wrote this letter in 2004 told the SEC they dealt in 600 of the most active New York Stock Exchange securities listed, including the S&P 500. All right, so what you see in the price fluctuation of the S&P 500, this person says they provide infinite liquidity to those stocks. That if somebody wanted to buy 1,000 shares of Coca-Cola, if they were on the S&P, I don't even know anymore, but if they wanted 1,000 shares of Coca-Cola and there was only 200 shares of Coca-Cola on the market that was being sold, they went ahead and sold another 800 shares of Coca-Cola, even though they didn't have it. This is what this person who's writing this letter to the SEC is saying, that we provide infinite liquidity, we provide naked short selling, and they also buy when people want to sell. All right, which what they cry about, well, we use our own money to do this. No, understand, nothing's changed since 2004 and when they wrote this letter, and they were telling the SEC that they needed to have an exemption for market makers because they dealt in liquidity that kept the market going. Now, let me ask you a question. Where have you heard those arguments before? They provide infinite liquidity. They provide price improvement. They provide size improvement. What talking points? Who says these things? Ken Griffin in his interviews, Doug Sifu in his interviews. The rest of them are pretty much smart enough not to go on interviews and run their damn mouths, but those are the two most famous. But who wrote this letter? When the SEC got this letter, they passed the market maker exemption rule. Now, the question is, who wrote the letter to the SEC and requested market maker exemption rule? And the answer is Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, LLC. Bernie Madoff. He's the one who wrote the letter to the SEC requesting that market makers like him and Griffin and Sifu and the rest of them be given an exemption that would allow them to sell shit they don't have. And they do it across the market. It's not a meme stock problem. It's a stock market problem. They have inflated the stock market for so long, and now they're about to pull the rug on it because they control the price. Ken Griffin's told us that. But now let's take it a step further than that, okay? Let's take a look at who is responsible for the exemption rule. All right, that's important. Of course, a crook is going to be a crook. They're going to try to convince you to let them steal, but who was ultimately responsible for the market maker exemption rule that allowed Madoff and Griffin and Virtue and all the rest of the market makers to rob retail investors, pension funds, and institutions that follow the law? Kathleen L. Casey. She's the culprit. She was the commissioner of the SEC from July 2006 to August 2011. She was appointed by George W. Bush, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and sworn in on July 17, 2006, and her term expired in 2011, and she was in charge when they received their exemption to be able to rob retail blind daily in the stock market, crushing the dreams of millions upon millions of people. So, with that, I hope that gives you a little background and education in what's going on and what we need to do. Again, I'd like to say thank you for the ones who have already signed the petition. If you have not signed it, please do. And if you have signed it, please share it with your groups. Let's get this over 22,000. And with that, love y'all. Be blessed. See you in the next video.